Hello everyone, and welcome to this second installment of The Wheel of Destiny! I still feel like I should get a new name, but you know what? We're gonna roll with it. So, as you can see, we are now back with the Wheel of Destiny series, where I take your suggestions from Tumblr, Twitter, or YouTube individually and put them on a spinning wheel and will draw what will be chosen. And for this episode of the Tumblr spinning wheel, we have Rem from ReZero. If you've never heard of ReZero, then you probably aren't watching anime a lot because this series blew up at some point. So as always, I'm gonna talk a little bit about ReZero, I'm gonna talk a little bit about the character, and then I'm gonna talk about the art that you're going to see, which I have a lot to talk about. So, what is ReZero? So, if you watch a lot of anime, you probably are familiar with the isekai genre. If you're not, isekai roughly translates to another world. So the basic premise of an isekai anime is that a boy from the normal world gets transported into another world, mostly fantasy, RPG-like, and has lately in recent years a lot of waifus in their respective worlds. Oh god, what have you done, Sword Art Online? And usually in these isekai anime, the protagonist is usually someone who's very likable, or supposed to be likable, who's very nice, very powerful, and bland as fuck. I have to be honest, I haven't watched a lot of isekai anime. I'm usually not really that into that genre, mostly because Sword Art Online scarred me for life. But ReZero is an interesting series because instead of following the structure of a normal isekai genre, it kind of subverts certain tropes of that genre. For example, instead of being very powerful, the main character Subaru is powerless. He has no magic, he has no skills, he's just a regular dude who just wanted to buy some ramen noodles or whatever he wanted to buy in that store and just suddenly was transported into another world and is like, okay, I guess we're doing this now. It's kind of funny how nonchalant he is about him being transported into a new world, as if this happened every fucking Tuesday or something. Can you imagine being transported in a new world every single week? Like, you just build up bonds, you get really powerful, and then next week you're suddenly in a new world and you're surrounded by new characters. If that is an anime, I want to watch that. Another thing that ReZero is really famous for is that it is very brutal with its character. Like, holy crap, without spoiling anything, Subaru is not having a good time. I think the secret subtitle of ReZero must be something in the lines of the anime where the main character is fucked. A better way of explaining what's so special about this series is that Subaru can actually go back in time every time he dies. And a lot of people think that there are a lot of ways he can just solve the problem by just killing himself whenever something goes wrong, but have you ever thought about it? Dying several times? Like, you can't be serious thinking that someone could just kill themselves without a problem. Like, you can't be serious. Like, oh, I don't even want to imagine how Subaru feels in this entire thing. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about Rem. To be honest, Rem to me is not that much of a interesting character, but he's definitely one of the few ones in ReZero who actually matters. It's been memed to death how Subaru rejected best girl and took the worst girl, I guess. Whatever, I don't know who's second best girl, probably someone else. Maybe Subaru, I don't know. Whenever someone talks about ReZero, Rem is one of those characters, or basically the only character people talk about, because nobody cares about Emilia, nobody cares about Ross, I think was his name, nobody cares about Ram. Yes, I'm gonna pronounce it like that, otherwise I'm gonna get confused. Everybody else just doesn't matter. Rem is like the only character who has a lot of screen time, which is funny because somewhere in the latter half, she doesn't really appear all that much. The only thing I can really talk about her is that she has a really, really cool design. I really had a lot of fun drawing her in this spinning wheel. It's really fun, but let's not talk about the art just yet. Let's talk about ReZero. And I want to talk about things like the things I like about ReZero and the things I don't like about ReZero. So the things I like about ReZero is just this time travel aspect of it. I am a sucker for those things. It's just great to just imagine what characters can do when they rewind time. I really like it a lot. It's kind of random where he starts off from again every time he dies, but you know, it's not that bad. And I think the CGI in the anime is actually not used all that badly. Most of the time, I guess. The character designs in ReZero are also really nice. As an example, Rem is very iconic with her blue hair and her maiden outfit. It's really, really unique. And that's all I can really talk about here with the positive things. I think everybody has already said what they like about the series, what they don't like about the series, and one aspect what people don't like about the series is where it doesn't really go anywhere, like there's no real goal, and I think this is why it seems a bit pointless to watch, because there is not really a goal, but it's kind of how people always say it. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Even though I think Subaru would gladly disagree with that, like holy crap, does he have a fucked up journey. Anyway, I want to talk about, however, a negative that I have with the series, something personal that I even bothered to look up on YouTube for a second because this freaking laptop won't let me look up anything else than YouTube, even though I wanted to watch Oran High School Host Club. What the hell, laptop? I went back to watch a certain episode, and it's something that really bothers me. And I think the reason why it bothers me so much is because I have not seen anybody else mention this, and I feel like this is something that I feel like more people should talk about. Maybe it is nitpicky, and considering how nobody talks about it, maybe it's just how my brother would say it, a me problem, but I really want to talk about this because I really want to know if this is something that bothers other people as well, because I can't believe that nobody says anything about it. So, we all are familiar with episode 18, right? You know, the scene that is being memed to death and how Subaru has become the jerk of the century for rejecting Best Girl, but that's not the aspect of the episode I want to talk about. In case you don't remember how episode 18 went, without getting too much into spoilers, let's just say Subaru has died a few times too much. And he has a mental breakdown in which he decides that he wants to run away with Rem instead of dealing with all that bullcrap. And the entire scene is about how Rem tries to encourage him, how she tries to give the best qualities in him and tries to tell him that she is the best girl, that she is the one who should be loved by him, but doesn't get it. Just being very supportive, and Subaru having more mental breakdowns about how he's worthless, how he's useless, how he's arrogant, and all of that. And you know, this kind of exchange in anime happens a lot where someone says, I suck. No, you don't suck. I love you. And that's kind of how this scene goes every time. Subaru saying he hates himself, Rem saying she loves him. And you know, that's all good and all, and don't get me wrong, the inspirational scene with Rem is beautiful. But does it have to be 20 minutes long? Seriously, how is nobody talking about this? This scene goes for way too long. I get it, people want to get emotional, people have to have a conversation, but I feel like even 10 minutes would have been enough. There was just absolutely no progress made throughout the entire episode. You get like the first 5 minutes where Subaru dies, and then the scene with them arguing is like over 3/4 of the entire episode. It's just fucking agonizing. When I went back on watching the episode on YouTube, it wasn't as bad as it was in my first viewing, but the first time I watched it, God, was it fucking frustrating. It's, seriously. Again, this might be just nitpicking, maybe it's just me, but I feel like a scene like that should not be this long, and I'm still surprised how nobody talks about it. It's infuriating. Like, holy crap. You can't discuss this in maybe 10 minutes. Like, this did not need to be fucking 20 minutes long. I'm sorry. Oof. Aside from that, the series is alright. I just hope there is not a scene like that again. And just something to notice, something I noticed in my second viewing that I didn't in my first viewing, they break the 180 rule in that scene so much, and it hurts noticing. Like, come on. Anyway, so let's talk about the piece. Problem I had in the beginning of trying to draw this is that I had a bit of a conflict with whether I'm drawing this in my style or in the ReZero style. Because whenever I make these art polls or just these request things, I have a weird conflict in my head. Do people vote for getting this character drawn in my style? Or do they want them drawn in that style? And then I don't really know what to do, but I just decided, you know what, screw it. My style is my preferred style, so I'm just gonna go with that one. So sorry that she doesn't have the Desu Kawaii eyes in that piece. I'm really sorry. My eyes are very small. My irises are very small. I like them very thin. I'm sorry. I don't put that much emphasis on the eyes. I apologize. Maybe this is because I watched a lot of Mob Psycho recently, which is a fucking amazing series. Go watch that, please. But I wanted to play around with perspectives a little bit, and I kind of like how the background turned out in this one. Not necessarily because it looks realistic or something, but I kind of just like the simplicity of it, how it still kind of gives this effect of a distorted perspective. It doesn't really match with the perspective I gave Rem, and her legs are fucked up as always whenever I draw characters in that perspective. I somehow can never get them right. What is wrong with me? But I still kind of like it. The perspective of the morning star is a bit questionable, but you know, this is kind of the first time I wanted to have an art piece where there's like actual motion going on with an object, and I tried. I did something. This is one of those things I don't like very much in that piece, and that is how I did the motion thing with the spinning, the morning star thing. But you know, I tried, and you know, again, putting a little bit of symbolism in there. What? What do you mean there's no symbolism? Well, do you realize that Rem is spinning the morning star counterclockwise? You know, like how Subaru has to go back in time whenever he dies? I'm not good with symbolism, I'm sorry. One thing I decided to do just kind of randomly in this piece is just put the title in the piece as well, because I just felt like it was kind of empty. And so I thought maybe putting the title in would kind of fill in the piece, because like the upper right part of the piece just really seemed empty. So I thought if I put maybe something in the middle, maybe it would distract from the emptiness there, and voila, you have a piece that is a bit inconsistent with other pieces that I've done so far. Shut up, I couldn't do anything else, okay? Also, you might have noticed this is my new signature for the piece, in case you're already there in the speed paint thing. It took me a while to actually figure out a new signature, because I first had to figure out what kind of name I'd have. But you know what, I really like it. It looks like an S, it looks like a B. You know, despite the perspective maybe being a little wonky and not going the way I wanted to, it's alright. Also, I first planned this sunbeam to come from... Sunbeam? You know how sometimes in the reflection there's like a line of sun going up? You know what I'm talking about. Like you see that in anime a lot, where there's just this line of light going across. I wanted there to be the sun right behind Rem's head, where it would just be a line there, and it would like emulate the demon horns on her. But then I realized, wait, I made the sky a bit too bright. Shit. So I just kind of did something on her head. It's not exactly how it looks like in the anime, but you know, it's something. To be honest, I kind of like that piece. I had some trouble with the hands, especially the one on the left, right. The fist one, okay? The fist one. That one gave me a lot of trouble. I'm still not completely happy with it, but you know, it's something. And you know, you win some, you lose some. And I'm actually glad I got to draw this character, because now I can probably put ReZero out of the list, because seriously, what other character matters in that show? I can basically put that away from the list of stuff I know. Like, what other character from ReZero would you please want me to draw? Let's be honest here. Rem is probably the only character everybody would suggest. Don't lie to yourself. Anyway, so that is the end of the discussion. I'm going to start the spinning wheel contest on Twitter after this video is out, so you can leave your suggestions on Twitter. If you're making suggestions here on YouTube, I will take them as suggestions for the spinning wheel for YouTube, but not for Twitter. So if you want to vote for the Twitter art poll, you have to go, what article? No, for the suggestions, you have to go to Twitter. If you don't have a Twitter account, well, maybe that is a good reason now to make one, hey? I'm trying to get followers, okay? Tell me what you think about the piece. Tell me what you think about ReZero. Maybe you have a different best girl in that show. Okay, but let's be honest here. Yeah, Rem is the only best girl. Have a good day, and well, see you next time.